Hello there, and this is Auntie, and I am coming out here to do my review on the Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 1. Oh my God, did this show open up with a boom bop bam alakazam. Oh my goodness. So, last season, we saw... Okay. I don't want to start that way. This is how I want to start. So we see Walder Fray in his castle, in his throne room where he does all his celebrations, okay? So he is in there and he has all his family, close family and friends, and they are there to celebrate. He goes on to discuss how he is so proud of them, and let's do a toast. So he has all the women, you know, the little young girls walking around and they pouring wine in everybody's cup, and they're putting the thing, you know, the pitchers of wine out so that everybody can have plenty to drink, okay? So as they have plenty to drink, all right, he says, let's make a toast. And so he makes a toast to killing all of the Starks. And they're here. They're celebrating. And guess what? As they begin to celebrate and they fill up on their wine, he goes on to say, but you didn't kill all of them. You killed a pregnant woman at the Red Wedding. You killed a mother of 5. But what you didn't do was kill all of them. So all of a sudden we notice all the men start to vomit and to throw up. Because at this point we realize that everybody in the room has been poisoned with the wine. And off comes the face of Walder Fray. And who is left? Arya Starks. God damn it. Let me tell you something. That was so fantastic, phenomenal. It was so good. Now, as we remember, Arya ended up being in the House of Black and White. She learned all the secrets to taking a man or woman's face and personality and making it her own. She has used those skills that she learned at the House of Black and White. But if we all remember, she killed Walder Fray at the end of the episode, in the end of the season last year. Let me tell you, to see my girl come out, I was like, God dang it, Arya! You better work it, girl! I'm trying to tell you, I popped my bra strap off to Arya because my girl did the daggone thing. Oh my God, y'all. It was so good. The little girl who had gotten denied wine looked at her with shock and surprise. And she said, if anybody asks you what happened here tonight, tell them that the North remembers. Okay? And that the House of Starks has killed the House of the Fray. You better go ahead, Arya. You better go ahead. This is Auntie, and this is my review of the Game of Thrones, a Black Woman's Edition. Let me tell you, I have been into Game of Thrones from the very beginning. It has been one of the best shows that has been on television. I believe that this is the last season. I'm not sure, but I am going to be coming out here every Sunday night and giving you a review of Game of Thrones. All right, so now that we have gotten that out of the way, please like, subscribe, and comment. Let me tell you something. I want to scream, shout, dance, do everything I can, because Arya is one little bad chick, okay? She has been through the blues. She's seen all kinds of things from a little girl. And now vengeance is mine, says Arya, okay? She ain't trusting in God. She ain't trusting in Caesar. She ain't trusting in nobody but her ability to get the job done. And she killed Walder Fray and killed all his family. Took them bastards down to the ground. Yes, she did. Oh my God. Okay. So next we see Brandon, you know, coming to one of the north walls, and you know, the guy asks him, you know, how do I know that you're Brandon Starks? And he goes to identify him as being one of the 5th leaders and one of the guys who has actually seen the White Walkers before, and so they let him in. And so now we see that you know, he's probably going to more than likely get connected to his brother Jon, who's going to realize that he's there. The next scene we see is Jon Snow sitting, you know, in his cold castle, you know, as King of the North. And he is, you know, telling everybody that they've got to get this dragon stone, this dragon glass, and that the White Walkers are going to be there. He also has someone who has betrayed him, and he has their son and their daughter there. The argument ensues on what he should do as the King of the North in order to make them pay for what they've done. And his sister, you know, Sansa, she has the nerve to rise up and say something. Now, she's gotten very ballsy since she's been through the stuff that she was in the last season. Basically, you know, she was married, you know, to 2 idiots. She was married to King Joffrey, and then she was married to the other little crazy Looney Tune guy. I can't think of his name right off, but anyway, he's irrelevant because what they ended up doing is letting the dogs bite him and kill him. The same dogs that he sicked on everybody else came back to bite him. Okay, so anyway, you know, so she's gotten very ballsy, and you know, she stands up in a meeting, well, not stand up, but sit down in a meeting, and you know, she makes a proposition of her own on what she thinks should happen. And Jon talks about when he was with his dad, he remembers his dad telling him that, you know, the man that issues out the punishment, he is the one that swings the sword, and his decision is that he is not going to make them pay for the sins of their father, and that's it. So basically, Sansa, what I need you to do is sit down, stay in your place, and shut the up. Okay, so okay, Jon is, you know, coming into, you know, his leadership position and everything, especially since he's been resurrected from the dead. And so later on, they go on and they talk about you know, him, you know, feeling like, you know, as my sister, you know, you shouldn't really be saying anything. It makes people think that I'm not an authority and so on and so forth. And she kind of humbles herself down. And she has Littlefinger constantly whispering in her ear. And, you know, he's standing in the background for everything. Basically, he wants to marry Sansa. And he just wants to run a couple of kingdoms of his own. All right, so let me put my glasses on so we can go on. The next thing we see is a conversation between Jaime and Cersi. They've lost everything. They've lost all their children. They've lost their allies and everything. And she has an artist who's painting on the floor these kingdoms that allegedly they're still in charge of. And you know, a conversation happens between the two of them where, you know, Jaime is like, you know, we don't have any allies, we're really in a bad position, and we really need to work on this, and you're not being sensible about it. And you know, you never even talked about our son who killed himself. And Cersi goes on to say, he betrayed me, Nick Night Patty Rack, and give a dog a bone. And she really, you know, she's like, they're ashes and we're alive, and I have a plan of my own. I didn't listen to my father for 40 years and not learn anything. Y'all excuse my earring being gone. Let me just do it like this. So she you know, talks about that, and then, you know, she's basically telling him, you know, that your brother is, you know, with Daenerys, and he's traded sides, you know, the little brother that you saved and that killed our father and killed our son Joffrey, because you know they trying to say that he's the one that poisoned Joffrey. King Joffrey needed to die. Okay. Let me take this off because you know what, this is stressing me out. There we go. Okay. All right. So basically he's with Daenerys, you know, Tyrion. He's Tyrion. He's with her now. Okay, more power to him. So she says, you know, I have a plan. So next thing you know, they go outside and they're on the balcony, and then there are ships that are coming in, and he's like, why are you with them? Why would you align with them? And she's like, you know, he's coming here, you know, they don't do anything but steal and stuff like that. And she's like, well, you know what, he needs a queen. And so then we see them in the throne room, and you know, he walks up and he talks about how, you know, his nephew and his niece stole the fleet of his ships and gave them to Daenerys and turned sides against them. I can't think of their names, or the Tyrells. And if I'm wrong, correct me down there in the comments. So he makes a proposition saying that he's always wanted to marry the prettiest woman, and he has two good hands. What he meant by that, I don't know, but it made Jaime almost throw up, okay? Because we know that Jaime and Cersi have always had an incestuous relationship with one another, and both of them lost, you know, their 3 kids that they had together. The thing about it is, when she was a young girl, we see in season 1, when she was a young girl, she already knew that she would lose every one of her kids when she went to a witch doctor and was playing around with that with one of her little friends. So, you know, I guess those prophecies were fulfilled, because she absolutely lost all 3 of her kids. All woo-woo, sad. Okay. Anyway, I digress. We move on. And so she tells him that she's not going to take his proposal. He says, you know what? I tell you what. When a man is proposing to a woman, he needs to bring her a gift. And when I return, I will not return until I bring you that gift. Whatever. So the next thing we see is Sam. Sam is living in this place where he is supposed to be learning everything about the White Walkers. We see him cleaning up poop and urine and gagging. We see him feeding them. We see him taking care of books, and books being slammed on him day in and day out. His life is just not turning out the way he wanted it to, because basically he wants to find out information about how to get the Dragonstones and how to defeat the White Walkers, because he's seen them. So we see him downstairs with a man who's doing an embalming a body, or doing an autopsy, or whatever it may be. And so he tells him, I want to go into the secret room, you know, and the guy's like, you know, I can tell that you're talking about this because this is something that you really have experienced, and you really do believe that it is real. And so he's like, okay, yeah, I do believe it's real, you know, whoop, whoop, and a boop, boop, boop. And so they're like, okay, you know, maybe one day just clean up. And so he takes it upon himself, while he's cleaning up poop and handing out food and doing everything else that he has to do in this place. He takes the keys and he goes into the room. He finds the book, he hides it in his pocket, and he leaves out. That night we see him studying the book, and the girl that was with him, I can't remember her name, and the baby, we see that the baby has grown up and they look really healthy and strong. Way to go, Sam. And so it's like, you know, he's reading through the book, and then he finds out that there is a mine, a mountain that's underground that has dragon glass and dragon stone. And he immediately thinks of Jon, and he was like, I need to let Jon know that this place is here. And it happens to be, you know, right there where Daenerys is. Okay. And so, he's got to send a raven or something out to Jon to tell Jon where it is. And it's a good thing, because Jon realizes he's already told his staff, we've got to find this, we got to mine it, we got to, you know, get this dragon glass, because the White Walkers are coming. Winter has come upon Winterfell, and we have got to absolutely, you know, kill these bastards, okay? The sad thing about it is when we see the White Walkers, we see them coming in powerful and strong. And the thing that really broke my heart was that the big giant is now a White Walker. And it just made me so sad because he was so for Jon Snow. And of course, we know that he ended up getting killed by the White Walkers in last year's episode, well, last season's episode, because it seemed like it been a damn year. But, you know, he was killed in, and it was so sad to see him, and he didn't have any eyes or anything, and he was just cold and stone, and just a White Walker. And so we know eventually he's going to have to die, but it just was really sad to see him being converted and changed into that. And then we see Arya, who meets some soldiers by the side of the road, and you know, they tell her to come on over. You know, they're singing a song, and she's like, nice song, and everything, you know, that's new. And they're like, well, you know, it's cold, it's gonna be a cold night, won't you come on over and sit with us and lollygag and, you know, shoot the breeze and eat some burnt rabbit. And so, you know, she's like, well, no, I don't really want any, and y'all don't have enough to go around. And one of the guys, he's very courteous, has a lot of manners. He's like, my mother always taught me that you feed a stranger first, because you never know when you're gonna need another stranger. How cute. And you can see that there's automatically a connection between the two of them. But one thing that has not eluded Arya was their weapons. She zeroed in on that quickly, because let me tell you, this girl has had to fight for her cotton freaking life all her life. All right? Another story. Okay. So she sits there and they talk and they kick the bobo, that she finds out what their mission is. And then they ask her, so what makes a girl like you want to go to King's Landing? And Arya says, I'm going to kill the queen. And they laugh, and Arya laughs. Arya is serious as a heart attack. Wouldn't it be phenomenal and fantastic to see Arya kill King Cersi? To take it away from Daenerys and everybody else who is after her, it would just be... Let me tell you something. When she was a little girl and her father was chosen to be the hand of the king, and she went to that castle, she never had a good day. They ended up having to kill her sister's dire wolf in place of hers, because it bit, you know, Joffrey and everything with his raggedy tail self. And, you know, she's been abandoned and abused and having to be a slave, and she's had to do it all, and living in a house of black and white where she was getting her butt kicked every day until she just acted like she was, you know, straight up blind, and kicked the blind girl's butt. It ended up killing her, and excuse me, and everything. So I mean, to see her go and kill Queen Cersi, icing on the cotton freaking cake. Let me tell you something. Ugh. And so at the end of this episode, we see Daenerys comes home. We see her fleet. We see the 3 dragons are back together. They're flying nice and free, and we see just this beautiful black ship with black sails. It is just absolutely beautiful. The cinematography, just the graphic, the designs of it all is just beautiful. The way that they had the mountain looking like slate was, oh my God, it was just a beautiful sight to see. And we see Daenerys get out of the boat, the ship, and she has Tyrion with her, and she touches the sand, and she's just home. Daenerys is home, and she says, let's get busy. Where do we start? She walks around, she sees her father's robe hanging up and everything, and she's just ready for the battle. Let me tell you something, this season of Game of Thrones is going to probably be the best season that we have ever seen. I am so looking forward to it, and I will be reviewing this week after week. Thank you so much for being here. Like and subscribe to my channel. Bye-bye.